Today we're going to be discussing 3 players I believe we need to kind of propel us to winning, put us through the playoffs, those kind of things. I wanted to say I'm extremely proud of my squad, and I'm going to put it that way, my squad, of what we did in the draft. One of the best drafts we had on paper in a very long time. We finally got a safety. I've been waiting for us to get a safety. Listen, we passed on Ramsey. We passed on Ed Reed to get Roy Williams. I never was a big Roy Williams guy. Shout him out. No disrespect. He's a Cowboy for life, but never was a big Roy Williams. I just didn't like his style of play. So he was primary box guy, so I didn't like it coming from college. I always liked Ed Reed. Ed Reed's one of my favorite football players to this day. Nevertheless, I wanted to see something, what we got going on today. You can see some of this. As Caleb did. Speaking of the devil, we finally got us a safety. Caleb down to Malachi Lawrence. Finally got these guys. Finally got some. I mean, I was shocked. Couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. Exactly what we needed. Now we're gonna start making some moves at safety, and I'm gonna get into that here in a minute. Something I'm also very proud of. Look at the boys back in there. Makes me feel good. See my boys back on the facilities. Back at the facilities, rather. Pickens signs the franchise tag. Happy for that. What we're going to do without him, I don't know. I really like him at the number 2. He's the perfect number 2. Can we sign him to a deal that's suitable for both parties? I know Jerry running his mouth talking about he's not going to pay him, but I mean, finding number 2 this good is probably not going to happen in the near future. So how do you move? We just have to see how things shape out. But, Pickens got an ADHD thing happening, so I think I understand he's probably a little draining in the locker room. I get that. He has been I won't say he's been on his best behavior, but he has seemed to, calm down a little bit. I think he wants to be in Dallas, and I think he likes the team. Plus, he's ready to get paid. So, but he signs, the franchise deal. That's good enough for right now. We figure out the rest later. But offensively, I think we're okay. Like I said, with Pickens, that part scares me. I don't know what the future holds there, but right now, for now, we're okay. Running back, I'm not in love with. If Jadon Blue steps up, we got something. He needs to step up big time. We really need him to do what it is he can do. Maffa as well. Can Maffa be our number 2 power back? He has the ability. He can do it. Probably just need more carries. Need more reps. Even with Blue, needs more reps. I would just put Blue out there and make him do it. Not great at creating his own holes. I get it. Need to start teaching him. Get him in the weight room as well. Have offensive line good enough to supply him with proper space to make plays. So it's time for him to kind of step up. This is year 2 and we need him. So speaking on the first player we could use, Greg Gaines. Gaines is a stout run defender, true nose tackle, but can also play the 3 technique. Love his style of play. I've always been intrigued by him. I do the draft. I liked him ever since he came from Washington. So versatility, he played in 3-4-4-3. I think we should have a multiple system too. You have a young defense and you're trying to figure it out. 3-4-4-3, I would go in between, just depending on the situation. You should have more versatility available to you that you could kind of make those decisions. You shouldn't lock yourself up to one specific way, especially if you don't have to, and you need to find a way to generate some level of production on an otherwise unproductive unit. Now, we talked about his versatility. I think he can play in the 3-4 or the 4-3. He's 3-4 specific, but not specific, but he's 3-4 ready. 4-3, he can play both tackle positions. I like it. I love it. Also provides veteran depth, right? On a young defense who's trying to figure it out. Talented. We got some talent now, but guys who just don't know how to be pros, not their fault, just how it goes. Then when you have a defense that's not really good, they're not learning a whole lot. So their learning process is not really being expedited in that case. So they're really learning very slow. So guy like this, and a lot of it has to do with his ability to plug holes and defend the run. Because if you could just defend the run consistently, everybody should know this, but if you could defend the run consistently, this allows for the other players to kind of circumvent around him and make plays. You don't have to really, these guys don't have to think, well, the pass rushers, these young pass rushers, Ezraku, Malachi Lawrence, they don't have to think pass run. What they don't really have to think. They can just more or less focus on one job at a time and make plays, which is really just making plays. They don't have to think about, until they get to that place and they start to do more studying, and that takes time. You know what I'm saying? The offseason is not that large. Young players, right? Young players, they're trying to figure it out. They don't have a whole lot of time to learn. They got to kind of go. It gives them a little time to kind of figure things out, and also by example, they get to look at the tape, see what he does well, talking about games, and kind of incorporate some of those things in their game. But but very much so, he provides that veteran presence that we need on a very young defense. Really love what I really love how he will assist the pass rushers and the corners. The corners could kind of, it's either coming to their side or not. You're not going up the middle. Our middle linebackers have improved. So anything comes outside, it's not a whole. In other words, he cleans everything up. He allows for players just to focus on their position, and they don't have to do more. Your corners don't have to try to be safeties. Your linebackers don't have to become corners and play in the pass because guys are slipping in and out of the middle of the field. Because everybody can their jobs are more defined and they're a bit more simple math. I'm thinking. But yeah, that's really, he's important, I think. He can really do it. And also, you don't need to start him, right? You don't have to start him. He's your first, second down. He could, he's a piece. He's a rotational piece. We need that. We need that depth. We got a couple guys there who can play. We picked up a couple guys in free agency as far as being undrafted. There's some things there, but a guy like him could really make it go. I'm going to go to my number 2 guy, man. Devin White. Now, we just picked up D. Winters. I love that pickup. I really do. Why not have a guy like Devin White to help compete, experience? Like I said, I do drafts. Devin White was one of the highest rated defensive players I ever scouted. Really, really at linebacker. He's one of the highest rated linebackers I've ever scouted. I had a very high grade on him coming out. Loved him ever since. He's shown that he can do it. Had a great season. The year prior, done an excellent job, continues to get better, continues to learn. You got guys like D. Winters and, of course, Overshown. I would put him in front of D. Winters and let D. Winters be the backup and I would rotate him. I would. I probably wouldn't take out Overshown, but between White and Winters, I'll play both. I'll also rush Winters too. Winters is a nice. He has a nice. He's a nice pass rusher, I believe. I think he's good at pass rushing. I think he's a little underrated in that regards. I would also use Winters that way, so he would get plenty of playing time. But you got a guy like White to help these guys compete. Again, provides veteran depth that is needed on the young defense. And with him on the field, there's a high probability of production. He knows what he's doing. He's not just efficient at his job. In some ways, he's exceptional, talking about Devin White. That talent is still there. He's young. What is he, 28 years old? Let me look. Yeah, he's 28 years old, I believe. So, let's not. Oh, also another point. Excuse me. I'm thinking on the run. He comes from a winning culture. He won a Super Bowl. He knows what that looks like. He knows what that feels like. That's worth its weight. That's worth its weight in gold. That's not an easy thing to obtain, because some of it, like I said, it's not all of it is technical. Some of it is a feeling. He knows what a locker room should look like, sound like, smell like when a Super Bowl is on the horizon. Because he felt it from the beginning. He was there with Peyton Manning. He was there with Tom Brady through the whole thing, so he knows how that feels. Can't really put I can't say you can't put you can't put a price on that, but I guess you can. But not everybody has that. It's only very few amount of football players who knows what that feels like, and that's very important. Also, he's a vocal leader. We need that kind of leadership. We don't really have that defensively. Talking about the guys we got there currently, we don't really have that. We got some guys who try, who can, but this is a legitimate green dot play caller, mouthy, temperamental when he needs to be, knows what to say, when to say it, knows how to motivate. He's a true inside linebacker. I think he has Hall of Fame ability. I'm being honest. Perfect. I would look, man. One of my favorite picks. This is probably my favorite one right here. Him and Gaines. I love the one with Gaines also, but this is probably one of my favorite ones because I understand what he brings. Let me know what y'all think about these, man. Now, last but not least, this is a guy who's been in the Cowboys ether for a minute now. I don't know what to make of it. Obviously, the money's going to have to be right. A lot of things are going to have to go right in order for this to happen. But I think it's possible. Joey Bosa. He has kind of been. He's almost been a part of the damn Cowboys. He's been talked about so much with the Cowboys. I'm surprised they didn't make a move on him sooner. There's some things, health-wise, there's a couple things, but nothing, you know what I mean? Listen, he don't have to do anything spectacular. He just essentially has to come to the Dallas Cowboys and really be himself. He's another stabilizing piece. This is what it's about. He comes there. He has high-level pass rush, quarterback pressure potential. Just the potential of what he can do makes a big difference. Remember, we have a young team. Those kind of things are important. Versatile in the 3-4, 4-3. Can play edge, can stand up or put his hand on the ground. He's athletic enough. He can do it. Also, one of the most important things, and again, This is probably what I like most. Well, I don't say I like most, but I like his ability. I like the quarterback pressure potential, but also he's a locker room guy, and he's not really what you would call a vocal leader per se, but he leads by example. We need that too. You don't need everybody to have a big mouth. Everybody don't need to be Devin White. Devin White don't have the biggest mouth, but he has a big mouth. This guy, he leads by example. That's something you could depend on. He's a captain guy. So is Devin White. So is Greg Gaines. That's what I'm talking about. Getting these three guys, I'm thinking it's not going to be easy because like I said, the money has to be there on both sides. They can't be asking for too much, and we're going to have to pay them fairly. You know, dealing with Jerry, you just don't know. Jerry spazzes out. You don't really know. Jerry's a little bipolar that way. He's a little schizo. You don't really know what he's gonna, and then he'll crash out all of a sudden. He regretting the amount of money he paid. So you just never really know with Jerry on that end. But one of the main things I love about these three pickups, the amount of competition that they're going to provoke without forcing anything. These guys are players who can be in a rotation. You know, these are not guys who you have to keep out or they're going to get disgruntled, because that's not really the situation. These are guys who you can mix in with your young players and get the best out of both. The key here is stability. That's really what it's about, and you can see it in my thumbnail. That's what we're looking for. Because we have talent. We Dallas Cowboys are known for drafted talent, just not putting together a good roster. And then Jerry's normal, how would I phrase it? Paralysis from overthinking the draft, trying to do too much. I believe he stayed out of the way of this draft. He allowed the other guys in the room, the war room, to really have a say, and him not just fly out and just pick these guys up just because he liked the way they look or he sees something. He really allowed the numbers, and he didn't. And that's another thing. He didn't overdo the numbers. I think there was just balance. I haven't really seen that from a Dallas Cowboy draft in a long time. That's why I'm stumbling. I don't even know. We had a certain level of balance in this draft, and we hit the targets that we needed to hit, and it all made sense. That was the most shocking part of the whole draft. It all made sense. When's the last time we had a draft that made sense? I mean, it's just not something that we normally do, but I do appreciate it. Let me make sure I got all my points. Yeah, I'm excited about this season. We're going to see how this shapes out, but these three guys could really help us out. Let me know what y'all think in the comments, man. If you wouldn't mind, like, share, and subscribe, and be very much appreciated. I appreciate you for watching. I appreciate you for listening.